Welcome to the deep dive. You know that feeling, right? The buzz of planning a new trip, imagining everything, but then, almost immediately, that big question pops up. Okay, but is it actually safe? Today, we're tackling exactly that. We're diving deep into a specific scenario, a 2 week holiday in Ghana, traveling as a single woman. And this isn't just off the cuff. We've built this exploration specifically for you, pulling from a whole stack of sources. We've got community insights from Reddit, travel blogs, right up to official government advice, US State Department, the UK's FCDO, and even some academic stuff on crime trends. Our mission here is really to boil all that down, find the crucial bits of knowledge, and basically give you a shortcut to feeling genuinely clued in. We'll cover, well, everything from general safety, specific spots in Accra, transport, health stuff, and how to actually connect with the culture safely.
Exactly. It's about giving you that full picture of Ghana, the amazing opportunities, yes, but also the practical things you need to know for a trip that's both authentic and secure.
Okay, so let's get into it. When people ask, is Ghana safe? What's the first thing that comes back? What are people on the ground saying versus the official lines?
Well, it's really interesting, actually. There's a bit of a split screen effect. You get a lot of positive vibes from, say, Reddit users. Many are saying Ghana is safe and enjoyable. Some even feel, safer in Accra than in most U.S. or European cities of comparable size. The common thread there is using common sense, being aware, like you would anywhere, really.
Okay, standard travel advice sounds good.
But then you look at the official bodies, and the tone shifts. It gets more specific. The U.S. State Department has Ghana at level 2. Exercise increased caution. They flag crime and violence against women travelers and lesbian, gay, and bisexual travelers. They mention things like carjacking, muggings, assaults, rape often at night, isolated spots, and importantly, that sexual assault is way underreported.
Right. And the UK advice?
The UK's FCDO is even more specific in some ways. They advise against all but essential travel to one particular area, the Baku municipal area, up in the Upper East region. Generally, though, their advice is more about doing your research for any destination and making sure you've got good travel insurance.
So it's this real contrast, isn't it? Lived experience often feeling very safe versus official warnings highlighting some pretty serious specific risks. How do you, as a traveler, sort of square that circle?
That's the key question. It seems like while day-to-day petty crime might be like anywhere else, understanding those specific risks, especially for women or LGBTQ plus travelers, is crucial. It's not about being scared, but being specifically aware.
Yeah, awareness is definitely the word. So, okay, Ghana, generally safe, but needs caution. What about Accra specifically, the capital? How does that play out street by street almost?
Right, Accra. Well, compared to other big cities in West Africa, it's often seen as relatively safe, but, it's still a major city. So petty stuff like pickpocketing and bag snatching definitely happens, especially in crowded places, markets, busy tourist spots. Robberies aren't heard of, and the advice is pretty clear. Avoid walking alone in quiet areas at night. Oh, and phone snatching is a thing, particularly in traffic, apparently. The tip is to keep your windows rolled up in Ubers or taxis if you're stopped.
Good practical tip. Are there specific areas that get flagged more often?
Yes, definitely. Spintex Road at night comes up repeatedly as dangerous. The sources mention no streetlights and criminals using warehouse doorways for cover. There have been quite a few robberies reported there.
Wow, okay. That's pretty specific. Anywhere else?
Also, parts of Osu and Jamestown are described as a little sketchy for night travel. Maybe less about serious crime, more about feeling uncomfortable, possibly pickpockets. Still, worth knowing.
So, knowing the specific geography really matters. What about the safer bets? Where do people recommend staying or feeling more comfortable?
Absolutely. On the flip side, several neighborhoods get consistent thumbs-ups. Think Lebon, Cantonments, Seattle, Camp, Airport Residential Ridge. Camp has that added safety bonus. It's a military base, so security is high. The others are mostly residential areas, often where influential people or government agencies are based. Airport Residential even marketed itself based on being near the airport for a quick exit in a crisis, which says something about perceived safety.
Interesting. Any others?
Yeah, Tasano was mentioned as nice to walk around at night. Big trees, well-lit compounds, sort of suburban feel. East Legon, too, safe and nice, similar reasons. Though just a heads up for East Legon, one source mentioned one street that's the red light district. Not necessarily unsafe, they said, but good to be aware of so you don't stumble into it accidentally.
This is super useful. It really drives home that general caution isn't enough. Knowing where to be cautious, especially after dark, lets you plan much more effectively.
Exactly. It's about moving from vague warnings to actual actionable information for your trip.
Okay, so we know a bit more about where to be and where to maybe avoid. Now, how about getting between those places? Transport in a new city is always an adventure in itself. What's the lowdown on Ghana? Safe, affordable options.
Yeah, transport is key. And the good news is, for Accra at least, Uber and Bolt come highly recommended, almost universally. The descriptions are things like super affordable, safe, mostly reliable, cheap. So yeah, rideshares seem like a very solid bet.
Okay, that's straightforward. What about traditional taxis?
Taxes are everywhere, inexpensive and bountiful, generally seen as safe too, but with some important footnotes. Number one, always negotiate a price before getting in. That's crucial. And number two, be prepared for the vehicle's condition. Sources mention they're often in poor mechanical condition, broken seatbelts, no AC, broken windows. One person even had a taxi with a broken speedometer.
Huh. Okay, so manage expectations there. And you need to know where you're going.
Pretty much, yeah. You often need to direct the driver where you are going unless it is to a major landmark. They might not have GPS or know every little street.
Got it. Negotiate first, know your route, don't expect a brand new car. What about public transport options? Things like buses or trotros.
Trotros, those crowded minibuses. The advice is pretty consistent. Avoid them if you're a tourist. They're described as not recommended, not particularly safe, and notoriously unsafe and overcrowded. Even embassy staff aren't allowed to use them, which tells you something.
Right. So trotros are out, trains, buses.
Nope, there aren't any trains. You might see buses, but they aren't generally recommended either, unless you're feeling particularly adventurous. Safety and reliability concerns mainly.
Okay, so rideshares and taxis, with precautions, seem to be the way in the city. What about driving between cities or just road conditions generally?
That's where things get more complex. Main roads in the big cities are usually paved and well-maintained, but get onto secondary roads or outside the cities, and conditions can be poor. And driving at night, especially outside cities, is strongly advised against. It's considered extremely hazardous. Think poor street lighting plus unpredictable pedestrians, bikes, even animals on the road.
Yikes. And other drivers.
Yeah, aggressive drivers, vehicles that are poorly maintained or overloaded, they all pose serious threats. Plus, there's a specific warning about scammers who intentionally bump into vehicles and pretend to be hit just to extort money.
Wow. And specific dangerous highways.
Yes, increased robberies have been reported on certain routes, like Bultawa and Contempo to Tamale. It's serious enough that U.S. government folks aren't allowed to travel at night outside major cities.
Okay, this really paints a picture. It's that classic travel calculation, isn't it? Balancing cost, convenience, and safety. It sounds like for zipping around Accra, Uber and Bolt were clearly the winners for ease and relative safety. But longer distances or thinking about driving yourself, that needs serious planning, knowing the specific road issues, high-risk routes. It's a whole different level of preparation.
Exactly right. Your choices for getting around really depend on where you are and where you're going. Preparation is everything for those longer journeys.
Definitely. So beyond just getting from A to B, staying healthy is obviously a top priority. What are the key health considerations? Medical facilities, risks, that sort of thing.
Right, health. Well, first off, medical facilities are limited, especially once you get outside Accra. Public clinics might lack basic resources. And a big thing, hospitals and doctors often require payment up front. Cash is frequently preferred. Private hospitals might want payment or insurance proof before they even start treatment.
Good to know about the payment up front. Are there specific hospitals in Accra that are recommended if something serious happens?
Yes, if you need serious care in Accra, locals and expats tend to recommend places like Lister Hospital, Bank Hospital, Nyaho Medical Center, the University of Ghana Medical Center, St. Michael's, Luca Health, Franklin Medical Center, and Wara Hospital.
Okay, handy list. What about the main health risks to be aware of?
The big ones are mosquito-borne illnesses. Malaria, yellow fever, and dengue are a significant problem. So prevention is absolutely key. That means using good insect repellents, DEET, or picaridin-based. Treating your clothes with permethrin helps too. Sleeping under a mosquito net, preferably one treated with insecticide. And yellow fever vaccination is required upon arrival. That's mandatory. Plus, anti-malarial medication chemoprophylaxis is recommended for all travelers, even for short stays.
So mosquitoes are enemy number one. What else? Food, water.
Yep, tap water is not potable. Stick to bottled or filtered water, always. With street food, Just be sensible. Try to ensure that the food is freshly prepared. Watch them cook it if you can.
And swimming. I imagine the coast is beautiful.
It is beautiful, but the ocean currents are dangerous. Swimming in coastal waters is strongly discouraged, even for excellent swimmers. The currents are described as powerful and treacherous. Sadly, several people drown each year. So admire the ocean, but be incredibly careful about going in.
Wow, okay. Powerful currents noted. This sounds like you really need good insurance.
Absolutely essential. Medical evacuation insurance is highly recommended. Your home country's standard health insurance, like U.S. Medicare, Medicaid, won't cover you overseas. Also, bring enough of any prescription meds you need, plus copies of the prescriptions and the generic drug names. And double-check if your medication is actually legal in Ghana. Be aware, too, that counterfeit medication is common, so buy from reputable pharmacies if you need anything there.
Counterfeits, okay. And emergency numbers.
Good to have them handy. Police, 191 or 112. Fire service, 192. Ambulance, 1812 or 193. And the U.S. Embassy in Accra has an after-hours emergency number, plus 233 0 their me 274 1000. They also recommend enrolling in the Smart Traveler Enrollment Program, STEP, so they can reach you in an emergency.
This is all really crucial stuff. The big takeaway seems to be, don't skimp on preparation here. That robust travel insurance, especially covering medevac, isn't just a nice to have. It sounds like a critical safety net.
It really is. It buys you peace of mind knowing you're covered if the unexpected happens.
Okay, so we've covered safety, areas, transport, health. Now let's talk about the experience. You mentioned wanting to see the real Ghana, connect with people. How does all this safety stuff fit with actually immersing yourself in the culture? And what pitfalls should you watch out for?
That's a great point, because Ghana is incredibly diverse. Landscapes, wild animals, music, food, languages, cultures, religions. It's rich, and experiencing the real Ghana is definitely possible. Sources say you can live like us locals. Maybe starting with food, trying places like Buka Restaurant, or getting waki from Auntie Muni on a weekend. Some suggest specific spots like BWO Hostel near Kumasi in a town called Banko, where you can do cooking classes in a more small and friendly town setting. And for going out at night especially, having a trusted driver is often recommended.
Okay, so leaning into local experiences is encouraged. What about interacting with Ghanaians? They're generally seen as friendly, right?
Overwhelmingly, yes. Friendly and welcoming comes up constantly. But like anywhere, there are nuances. Dressing modestly is advised, particularly in rural areas or near religious sites, and maybe steer clear of potentially insensitive topics like politics or religion in casual chats.
Standard cultural sensitivity. What about building trust? Any warnings there?
Yeah, this is interesting. Be open, but also aware. Some people might try to be your friends for life very quickly, and some might take it even further. There's a pretty blunt warning about player lever moves that make you happy organically but wake up broke. Yeah. Having a trusted Ghanaian person, maybe someone you meet through a reliable connection, can be crucial not just for safety but also for avoiding foreigner prices and getting ripped off.
Right, the foreigner price is a classic. That leads into scams, doesn't it? That seemed like a major point in the sources.
It really is. Scams are a significant concern highlighted across the board.
Okay.
Internet romance and financial scams are prevalent in Ghana. Often they start online, unsolicited emails or posts. Scammers frequently pose as U.S. citizens who have no one else to turn to for help.
Okay, so what's the main type of scam?
The advance fee fraud scheme is called the most common. You need to watch out for red flags like offers that come out of the blue, unsolicited offers, a big sense of urgency, and any request for advance monies or fees. They might ask for money for supposed taxes, registration fees, bank fees, lawyer fees, whatever. They might even try to get you to travel to Ghana. Documents often look official but are forged. Communication is usually email, mail, or fax. They might even ask you for blank letterhead or invoices they can use.
Wow, that's elaborate. Are there specific types of these fee scams?
Yes, lots of variations. Procurement fraud, fake government contracts, fake legal fees, dodgy real estate deals, wills, currency conversion scams, and a big one, gold purchase sale. The advice here is exercise extreme caution. Forged documents are rampant in gold scams. They even create elaborate fake websites for completely non-existent organizations, things like the African Rescue Supply Project or the ECOWAS Project Commission, just to look legit.
Fake websites, too. They really go all out. Any other scams?
Credit card fraud is also mentioned. Skimming, where they use a device at a payment terminal to steal your card info, is the primary means. So definitely monitor your credit card activity closely after your trip.
It sounds like the real insight here is that Ghanaian culture is incredibly warm and open, but unfortunately, that very openness can be exploited by scammers. So the trick isn't to be suspicious of everyone, but to have this kind of healthy, proactive skepticism, especially when money or personal details come up. And trust your gut. If it feels wrong, just walk away.
Perfectly put. That proactive skepticism, combined with genuine curiosity, seems to be the key to having a fantastic, enriching, and secure experience.
So, wrapping this all up, after diving through all these sources, the picture of Ghana is pretty clear, isn't it? It's this vibrant, welcoming place with amazing things to offer. Safety is a valid thing to think about, especially as a solo woman, but it's definitely not an insurmountable barrier. With the right awareness, good preparation, following that practical advice we talked about, a really fulfilling, secure trip seems absolutely achievable.
Definitely. And hopefully you now feel like you have that solid base, those diverse perspectives and specific details to plan your own Ghana deep dive with real confidence.
Exactly. And maybe one last thought to leave you with, something to chew on. If Ghana is so often described as one of the most stable, most welcoming nations in West Africa, what does that tell us about how we perceive the wider region? And how might knowing Ghana firsthand change a traveler's expectations or approach when thinking about exploring other parts of the continent? Something to think about.